Hello guys, it's Drew. Phase 2 is right around the corner and I've been doing a lot of preparation for it. Been gathering some pieces of gear, crafting some engineering trinkets, gathering some consumables, and in this video I want to give you guys some tips on how to get them and show you exactly what I've been doing in preparation for Phase 2 because it is going to be crazy this Tuesday. So let's get First, I'm going to show you guys exactly what pieces of gear I've been collecting for PvP while I've been raiding and doing 5-mans. A lot of the shadow pieces for PvP aren't necessarily the same as PvE, so I will go through my gear piece by piece really quickly and break down exactly what pieces I'm talking about. First, we have the Green Lens of Shadow Wrath. This is what I use in PvE and what I'm going to be using in PvP as well. 10 stamina, 36 shadow damage, so it's the absolute highest roll you can get with the 8 damage enchant on it. The tier 1 priest helmet, the helmet of prophecy, is the best in slot for shadow priests, and I would definitely like to get my hands on that in the future, but the Green Lens of Shadow Wrath is what we're going to use for now. Next we have the Choker of the Fire Lord. This is best in slot for PvE and PvP. Gonna never ever have to replace this necklace. Next up we have the Mantle of Prophecy. So this is a piece, this is best in slot for Shadow Priest. It gives a lot of intellect, a lot of stamina. This is a very, very beefy piece, and it does give damage and healing, which is a nice bonus. Then we have the Spritecaster Cape, still using this. Saffron Drape is absolute best in slot, just haven't seen it drop much. Robes of Everlasting Night, these are from Imulthar in DM West. A lot of stamina, a lot of intellect. I got the 100 health enchant on it. Very nice piece for PvP. I don't have a lot of pieces in Necropile. If I did have the 5 out of 5 Necropile, would love to use that, but I honestly just have been running a lot of Skolo and either not seeing it drop in a lot of the runs, or it's just I'm losing the rolls to it. So I just have a lot of ragtag random pieces for PvP, not the Necropile set. Then we have these bracers. I do need to get the Sublime Wrist Guards from DM North. A lot of the groups don't really want to kill the guards and they drop off the guards, but I did recently find a video on how to solo farm the first boss of that instance, so I am going to try to solo it and get the bracers for myself. Those are definitely something I would like. If you do have Necropile and you don't want to break the set bonus, Necropile is just as good. Then we have the Fellcloth gloves. Don't really know much of a replacement for these for now. The gloves of Hypnotic Flame are best in slot. Those are an amazing piece for Shadow Priests, and if you are raiding as a Shadow Priest, I would definitely keep my eye out on the gloves of Hypnotic Flame. Something else I have in my bag that I use as a replacement sometimes is the Silk Web gloves. These give 13 int, 14 stam, and 3 MP5. These are just great for PvP and PvE as well. Sash of Whispered Secrets, best in slot for PvP. I still use Banthox Sash for PvE because I do like the hit, but 20 stam and 33 shadow damage, very nice piece. Sky Shroud Leggings, these are pretty good. Technically, tier 1 Priest legs are best in slot for Shadow Priest for PvP, but a lot of Holy Priests would like that for themselves for PvP. So another piece you can use is the Mana Storm Leggings. These are another great piece. They give a lot of int, a lot of stam, and a lot of MP5. Definitely useful for Shadow Priests in PvP. Then the Malachai's Foot Wraps. These are best in slot, or excuse me, are Prebis for PvE, and they are pretty good for PvP as well. I do actually have a pair of Necropile boots. This is the one pair of Necropile, or one piece of Necropile I did manage to get. Probably will use these in PvP over the Malachai's, but I just don't have a minor speed on these, so I'm using the Malachai's for now until I get a minor speed enchant on the Necropile boots. Then we have the Underworld Band, 10 stamina, 6 spirit, great ring, 14 shadow damage. And then we have the Seal of the Archmagus. This is another great ring for Shadow Priests. 11 int, 11 stam, 11 spirit, 6 of each res, and 3 MP5. Just a great beefy piece. Gives you a lot of stats, some resistances, and will definitely help you survive longer in these huge battles that you're about to encounter. Another replacement for the Seal of the Archmagus would be Underworld Band. Double Underworld Band is very good, and for a lot of people it's going to be a lot easier to grind up the 150 gold for their second Underworld Band than it is to raid and get a Seal of the Archmagus. And then for my weapon, the Anathema, This is the Holy Grail Shadow Priest piece. This staff is amazing. You're honestly probably going to use this staff through phase 4, phase 5 even, probably. And then for my wand, the Bone Creeper Stylus, this is what I'm using for now. 4 int 11 damage and healing. The best in slot PvP one is the Storm Rager. It's from a quest in Eastern Plaguelands. I do need to do that. I am going to do that before phase 2 starts, but this is what I'm using for now for PvP and for PvE. Now that I showed you my actual gear that I'm wearing, I want to show you the trinkets I've been collecting through engineering and through dungeoning and raiding as well that will be useful for you in PvP. So first tip I can give you guys is this add-on is called Trinket Menu. It is amazing. You can literally just place it anywhere on your screen, and it shows you all the trinkets you have in your bag, and you can just equip them easily when you're out of combat, and you could even click on them. Don't suggest clicking on them for use. I definitely suggest keybinding them, but not everyone does that, so definitely makes it easier for you clickers out there. So the first two I'm going to show you guys, these are my PvE trinkets, but you can use them in PvP when all your other trinkets are on cooldown, situational, things like that. We have the Mind Tap Talisman, 11 MP5, just some good sustain, get your mana up. You do go a lot more in PvP because there's just hunters of Viper stinging you out there, so definitely any extra mana regen you can get is helpful. Then we have the Briarwood Reed. This is your best in slot for PvE, 29 damage and healing. This is probably the trinket. I would replace this if I wanted to use an engineering trinket. I would use this is the trinket I would replace before Mind Tap Talisman. I do like the extra mana regen in PvP. So first trinket I'm going to show you guys is the Barov Peasant Collar. This is from the Deeds quest in Scholomance. You get the quest from Lord Barov in the Bulwark outside of Undercity on the border of Western Plaguelands. You just have to do one Scholomance run to get this quest done. This trinket is very useful for PvP. Keeps casters in combat, especially as a Shadow Priest. You want to use any little extra edge you can. Keep people in combat. A lot of mages and things like to, freeze you there, try to run out of combat, reset the fight. This helps you do that. And also is 3 mobs coming at them, so it's casting pushback. And another great little tip with this trinket is the peasants can eat a hunter trap. So if you do pop your peasant collar and a hunter pops a trap, you can definitely have one of the peasants eat the trap for you. Then we have Mithril Mechanical Dragonling, the same concept as the peasant collar, little extra pet to do some damage, some casting pushback, things like that. I do want to get the Arcane Dragonling, but I don't have enough money. It requires 8 Arcane bars. Just don't feel like dropping the money on a PvP trinket right now, but that is something in the future that I will be working towards getting. These are in no particular order, by the way, so we're just going to go through the list. We have the Ultra Flash Shadow Reflector, one of my favorite trinkets. I love the reflectors. 20 shadow resistance, and also reflects all shadow spells back at their caster for 5 seconds. This is one of my favorite trinkets because it really is dependent on its user more than the trinket itself. You have to time them, or you sort of have to call them, predict what they're going to do, read what they're going to do. If you think someone's going to fear you out of a CC, you pop your Shadow Reflector, things like that. I've had awesome fights with, Shadow Priest mirrors where I'm sitting in a fear and you think they're going to silence you out of fear. You spam your Shadow Reflector while you're in fear, and then they silence themselves, and it's really a huge edge in that fight. Same thing with the Frost Reflector. I'm just going to go over that real quick. Same concept as the Shadow Reflector, except for Frost, so it's really good against mages, really good against hunters. You can run over a hunter trap, and they can trap themselves. It's really awesome. And there is one more, the Flame Reflector. I just don't have it yet. That one is more useful in group PvP settings. You can have everyone pop their Flame Reflectors and reflect back sapper charges, and it is also useful against some fire mages in some niche scenarios. Excuse the random disconnect there. Let's continue going. Next we have the Carrot on the Stick. This is just, a great trinket to always have in your bags, and a trinket that is a lot easier to use with the Trinket Menu add-on, because when you mount up, you can just hover over and click equip your Carrot on a Stick. I definitely suggest having this in your bag at all times, because anyone who doesn't have carrot on a stick equipped, mithril spurs equipped on a piece of gear, and the glove enchant is definitely at a disadvantage because majority of people are going to have all three, and if they are chasing you, they will always be able to catch up to you because they'll be faster than you, even if you have your epic mount. Then we have the 6 Demon Bag. This is a really fun trinket, especially for Shadow Priests. Like I said, Shadow Priests sort of want to take any advantage they can get. This is a trinket that has 7 different possibilities. Most of them are damage. There's a Frostbolt, there's a Fireball, there's like a Tornado type thing. But the best thing about this is that it does have a chance to polymorph. So by using this trinket and equipping this trinket, you literally have a 1 in 7 chance every time to get an instant cast polymorph. So there are some times where this trinket just bails you out of a scenario that you need help in, like a 2v1 or something. And there are some times where it's just a little bit of extra damage. It's pretty cheap on most servers. I think it goes for about 20 to 30 gold. Definitely worth picking up if you want to add it to your PvP trinket collection. Next is the Nifty Stopwatch. Super useful trinket, especially in group PvP settings. You can have your whole raid pop this trinket and run in at 40% faster speed, and it is such an easy quest to do. There's no excuse not to have this done. If you did do this quest and you vendored this trinket somehow, I definitely suggest going back and trying to recover that item. Hopefully you're still able to. If not, I'm sorry. That's very unfortunate because this trinket is amazing. Just from a easy quest chain in Badlands at level 40. At level 60, you'll be able to do this in 30 minutes or less. Then we have engineering trinket, the Netomatic. This is a great trinket in PvP. If you're against a hunter, if you're against a rogue, you can just net them there and just free cast and mind flay, and they'll die very quickly. Love using this trinket. Then we have Lincoln's Boomerang. It's probably the worst trinket I have, but I just do have it here just to show you guys because it does have a chance to disarm and it does have a chance to stun, and there are some scenarios where all your other trinkets are on cooldown and you would want to use this over one of your other trinkets for whatever reason. That's why I have it there. And then we have the Cloaking Device. This is a great trinket. I used to play on private servers where this trinket was broken, so didn't have a lot of use. And on PvP, it's, you can use this as a stealth to run in. Also in PvE, this is great as a threat drop, so definitely suggest getting this. And then let's go into my bag, and these aren't necessarily trinkets, but these are useful PvP items that you can get. The Skull of Impending Doom, everyone knows about this one as well, from another quest chain in Badlands. This gives you a sprint, so that you can use this and sprint away, sprint towards somebody. And since it is a weapon, you can swap this out of combat, and it's definitely suggested to make a macro to weapon swap, because the second part of it is that it applies a dot to you that can be useful to break polymorphs if you're fighting against a mage or a hunter and you know that they're gonna, or a rogue as well, if you know they're gonna blind you, sheep you. You can preemptively pop your skull, it'll apply a dot on you, it'll break the CC, and then you swap your other weapon back so you don't take too much damage from the dot. And this is my other offhand that I use, the Furbolg Medicine Pouch. This is from grinding Honor in the Timbermaw rep in Fellwood. You only need Honored Reputation to attain this offhand. And it took me about 6 to 8 hours in total to get it. A couple of 2 to 3 hour sessions over a couple of nights. And this offhand is amazing because if it's on use, it restores a 1000 health over 10 seconds, so it's 100 health per second hot, and it uses no global and no mana. And especially as a Shadow Priest, not being able to heal in shadow form, sometimes it's more useful to pop your medicine pouch than it would be to pop out of shadow form and heal yourself. Then we have the Goblin Rocket Boots. These are another engineering item. There's a Goblin version and a Gnomish version. Each pair lets you sprint a little faster. The difference between the two is the Goblin version, when it backfires, it actually breaks. But the benefit from that is that the speed bonus is a little bit faster than Gnomish. And then the Gnomish one, when it backfires, it doesn't break and you still can use it. It just breaks durability on the Gnomish version. And since, I don't really use these that often, I usually am in situations where I would either use the stopwatch or the skull over the Goblin Rocket Boots. I do usually always have them equipped, and for that reason, I do have the Mithril Spurs on them. These are great item to have Mithril Spurs on, and Mithril Spurs are so cheap that if you use the boots and they break, it's really not that big of a deal. It's about, 1 gold, 2 gold for a pair of spurs, so definitely worth keeping spurs on your pair of rocket boots. Then we have both helmets. the Goblin Rocket Helmet, and the Gnomish Mind Control Cap. Rocket Helmet I love. It can be used offensively and defensively. What this is it you charge in and you stun, so it can be used literally as a charge. So every 30 minutes you get a charge, and it also, the best thing about the charge is that it stuns for 30 seconds. It is a magic ability, so it can be dispelled. So if you are in a 2v1 scenario, definitely want to Rocket Helm the Priest or the Paladin so they can't dispel the other person that you Rocket Helm. So I love using this item. And the same concept is the Gnomish Mind Control Cap. This mind controls someone, and it just turns them into a pet, differently from Priest Mind Control, where you can actually run around and move them and control them. This just turns them into a pet, but it does incapacitate them. So the same concept as the Goblin Rocket Helm. You can run into a 2v1 scenario, mind control someone, turn them into your pet, and use them to attack their buddy that they want to kill you with. Now that I showed you guys my gear and my trinkets that I've been gathering for PvP for Phase 2, I want to show you guys some consumables I've been stockpiling and hoarding and farming in preparation for Phase 2. The first one here I'm going to show you is a quest item. It's called Slumber Sand. For those of you that don't know, there is an item in the game called Magic Dust, and what that is it's an on-use item that puts an enemy to sleep for 30 seconds. So it's just another hard form of CC as any class, which is amazing. The only thing about it is that it only drops from the Dust Ragers in Westfall. So there's only about 7 mobs in the game that can drop it. It's not 100% drop, and they are only farmable in Westfall. So they are pretty hard to come by, but there is a quest for Horde that gives you something called Slumber Sand. It gives you 5 of them. Definitely a great quest to do before Phase 2 starts. It is from in Brill, Apothecary Johann in the inn. Very easy quest to do. Same thing with the nifty stopwatch. If you did this while you were leveling and you didn't, have the foresight to keep these, I'm sorry. It's just a minor disadvantage, not game breaking, just a little advantage that you could have to not farm 5 magic dust. So then we are going to actually move on to some of my bank alts here, and I want to show you guys actually the consumes and the items that I have been stockpiling. So first thing I'm gonna do is go to one of my bank alts, and I'm gonna show you here my bags. So you can see in this bag I have a lot of solid stone and a lot of mithril bars. I have been stockpiling these and farming these in preparation for Phase 2 because these are the main components in Goblin Sapper charges. For those of you that don't know what a Sapper charge is, it's an on-use item for engineers. It's an AoE radius fire damage that does it's like 600 to 900 damage. And doesn't seem like a lot, but if you have 40 people running in and popping a Sapper charge, it's about 40k damage straight off the bat. You can run in, wipe mini raids. The reason I'm bringing this up is because the solid stone, especially, not so much the mithril, it only takes 1 mithril bar for 1 sapper charge, but it takes 8 solid stone per sapper charge. So just think of all these guilds wanting all their members to have tons of sapper charges, and you need 8 solid stone per sapper charge. Come Phase 2, especially the first couple of weeks, there's going to be a huge demand for solid stone on every server. So this is something I definitely suggest farming, and the great news about this for you miners is that you can farm Meridon easily as a Shadow Priest. That is literally where I've gotten all of this solid stone and all of these mithril bars is from Meridon. There's 2 to 3 guaranteed mithril nodes in, they're not actually guaranteed mithril, 2 to 3 guaranteed nodes in each Meridon run. Very high chance of being mithril. Sometimes they're gold, sometimes they're true silver, but I would say 80% of the time they're mithril. Just farm that as much as you can, stockpile as much solid stone as you can, because you are going to need a lot of it come Phase 2. So next, let's go to another one of my bank alts here, and this is one that I have a lot of my just random consumables in for PvP that I have been stockpiling as well. On this one, as you see, I have a lot of free action potions. This is another great consumable to have for PvP. Have about 100 on this character and a couple more on my main. You're going to be using these a lot. These make you immune to CC, so it's like a blessing of freedom for you Alliance players out there. Horde doesn't have paladins, so this is like the Horde equivalent of blessing of freedom. Definitely stockpile as many as you can. Great strategy is to have a free action potion, just run in, pop a sapper, and wipe a raid. And then I just have some lesser invisibility potions here for, well, as well. Same concept as the cloaking device. Great tactic to do is have your whole raid pop lesser invisibility potions, run into an opposing raid, have them not see you coming, and just everyone pop sapper charges and wipe them out. And we have in my bank just a buttload of iron grenades. Hold on, let me show you guys. There you go. So we just have a bunch of iron grenades here. Another great item. This is better off in more of a 1v1 scenario than a group setting, because they do share cooldown with sapper charge. But when you're 1v1ing someone, it's just a great item. If you can hit them, it's a stun. And as a Shadow Priest, having a stun is very useful. And then we have probably my most important alt right now, my sapper bank. This is where I keep all my sapper charges. I've been stockpiling these a lot for phase 2 in preparation. You are, like I've been stressing, you are going to need a lot of goblin sapper charges in phase 2. They are crucial in massive world PvP fights. And like I've been stressing before about the importance of solid stone, it takes 8 solid stone per 1 sapper charge. So if you just look at all these sapper charges here, you can just imagine, or if someone wants to do the math themselves, you can just see how much solid stone you actually need and how much demand for it there's going to be come phase 2. So that's why I'm stressing the importance of farming mithril ore and solid stone, especially because you can do it in Meridon uncontested and not be ganked in the craziness that is going to be world PvP in phase 2. I hope everyone enjoyed my phase 2 preparation tips for Shadow Priest. PvP is the main reason I pretty much play Shadow Priest, so I am super excited for the release of phase 2. I'm sure every server is going to experience massive PvP battles, and some of these items, like I've been saying, are necessary to help you get the edge in those battles. If you guys have any ideas for Shadow Priest videos I can make during phase 2, please leave a comment and let me know. And if you guys enjoy Shadow Priest content and you want to see more, leave a like, leave a comment, and leave a subscribe. And I'll see y'all in Azeroth.